Happy Saturday, mental health friends. Vincent A. Lancy here. Recently did a 400 episode check-in with a solo show on That Entrepreneur Show. So it inspired me to have a long overdue solo show with you. Thanks for spending part of your day with me each and every week. I'm going to cover the mental health in my life today, some things that I'm seeing in the community. We just had a hurricane here in Florida, so I'm going to talk all about that, how it affected my mental health and overall life. I'm also going to type in mental health into Google News. Let's see some stories that we can go over together. Before I get to any of that, I'd love to hear from you all. Are there any questions that you would like to see me ask guests that come on the show? Are there any topics that you want to hear? Please let me know. Email the team, podcastsbylancy@gmail.com, plural podcasts, and we'd love to start getting some of that stuff on the air, whether in my solo shows or with guests. Please let us know. Also, if you're looking to share your story, you can reach out and share your story with us and why you want to join the show to the same email address. Let's talk a little bit about my mental health and how it's been since the hurricane has passed. At first, it seemed like we were going to be missed. Luckily, that's happened for the last bunch of years to right where my area is, but the winds started picking up one evening, and they kept getting faster and faster, and we checked the phones. The Tampa area was getting up to 140-mile-an-hour winds. It was crazy looking out the window. Trees that had fallen across the street onto our neighbor's lawn, branches, palm tree leaves everywhere, you name it. The rain wasn't too bad for us, but at some point I lost electricity except one outlet in the kitchen. Very weird, but I had no electricity for 3 days. I did have water running, which was great. No internet, of course, but I had no flooding damage, so that was really, really great, and I'm very thankful. But I want to just have my thoughts and prayers that go out to people who did have catastrophic damages from this storm. Some of my close friends went through a lot, and I'm just sending them warm thoughts. Not being able to work gave me some mental health challenges. I have clients whose podcast episodes get released on Friday, and it was Friday of the storm, and I had no electricity in my unit. I was emailing them off my phone, just being honest about what happened. There's obviously nothing I could have done. I mean, I couldn't even have a hotspot up until later in the weekend, one day before. But a big shout out to a friend of a friend who came through. I was out helping do some damage control for friends who had a lot of damage to their properties, and Ben came through with an air conditioning, a new friend, so thank you. I had air conditioner popped in one of my windows for a full day, and then we got power up the next day, fully back, but my house was at 87 degrees at that point. There were no ACs in the stores. You can't get Amazon Prime during a storm. It came in clutch, so thank you for that. And it's nice to be moving past, but now we're playing catch up with a lot of work. Thought this solo episode would be a good mental health tool for me to take a break, decompress, reflect, and talk about some things that are going on. Of late, and many of you may be able to relate, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves with work. We set these unrealistic expectations, and lately, with so much getting ready to finally come to fruition that have been in the works for so long, it certainly feels overwhelming, and through this, I have to remind myself to take my own advice where I take walks throughout the day. A super mental health cheat. The sunlight hitting me always helps so much. I come back feeling more relaxed. I'm getting back into my exercise routine. I had taken a few weeks off from my very regimented schedule to catch up on some work, but now I've been easing back into weights. Some people know behind the scenes I'm training for a team's triathlon. It's early phases, but I'm going to be doing the biking. When I try to run, still all these years later, I have extreme discomfort in my knee area especially. so I can't do that, but I love to bike. I'm getting back in that every other day routine of incrementally going a little bit further each trip. So stay tuned for more info on that. I'm excited for everyone to see all the things I have going on behind the scenes become public info. It's the podcasting book, the podcasting podcast, a few big book coaching collaborations. Stay tuned for all that, and thank you for all of your support. As promised, I want to type in mental health to Google just so we can all learn about what's going on in real time, be in this together. I'll read a few of the titles before hopping into anything specific. A young doctor's final words offer a mental health warning for others. AI offers an intriguing new way to diagnose mental health conditions. Predicting public mental health needs in a crisis using social media indicators. One I will touch on here is Tampa Bay area resident manages mental health after Hurricane Helene. And one more I'll read off, company that owns Pasco County mental health facility to pay nearly $20 million in fines. I'm scared to even open that. In this Google search, I came across an article, Tampa Bay area resident manages mental health after Hurricane Helene. Physical damage and devastation from Hurricane Helene line the streets of our Bay Area communities. The tragedy left behind is taking an emotional toll on those impacted directly and indirectly. Quote, a lot of people know the feeling of grief and loss, says Kirby Kelleher, a licensed clinical social worker at Ellie Mental Health in St. Petersburg. Everybody experiences in some way or another, whether it's death, divorce, or in this case, maybe losing your home, losing your vehicle, and there's certainly a lot of physical and facets of grief. Amy Brooks was experiencing that grief because her home located in St. Petersburg, Riviera Bay, flooded during Helene. It's devastating, she said. I just bought my house 3 months ago, and I was on the verge of finishing decorating my little oasis. You have all of your possessions that you hold on to for your whole life, and then all of a sudden, you have to decide, okay, well, I'm going to try to salvage this, and it's worth everything. Every single thing that you own, said Brooks. The 34-year-old is coping with a loss that's quite heavy on its own, but Brooks said she was already grieving before the storm. I just lost two of the most important people in my life, my mom, so that is why I sought out therapy, said Brooks, who is a patient of Kelleher's. She continued, grief is normal. Grief emotions are normal, Kelleher said. If you're experiencing sadness or anxiety or stress in relation to this loss or any other loss, the best thing you can do is to prioritize your well-being. Eat well, sleep as best as you can. Try to lean on the support of your loved ones. And there's more of that article if you want to dive in. It's from Spectrum News, Bay 9 online. I want to touch on another one here. Company that owns Pasco County Mental Health Facility to pay nearly $20 million in fines. I'm hoping this is something not too terrible here. Federal prosecutors reached a deal with Acadia Healthcare over allegations that the company submitted false claims to Medicaid, Medicare, and TRICARE. Wow. Former patients and employees said people were held against their will at Acadia facilities, including one in Pasco County. They claimed their motive wasn't patient care, but profits. So will this fine bring about change? I think this is something we should all keep an eye on. This is from WFLA News Channel 8. One more I'll look at, and just a forewarning, this may be triggering for some. Girlfriend of man shot by Aurora Police Department says mental health training could have prevented the Colorado death. Oh, this is terrible to hear, and if there's anyone out here affected by this, my thoughts are with you. The girlfriend of a man shot by Aurora Police says his death this week in Colorado was preventable. The victim's girlfriend, Anna Harris, identified him as 38-year-old Corey Dillard. Quote, he was a father and 4-year combat veteran. Corey had hobbies. He flew drones, 3D printed, and loved airsoft speed QB with friends. He wouldn't hurt a fly. She last saw Corey on Thursday morning. Anna later returned home to a crime scene. Corey had been shot by police. He succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Quote, the officers approached the individual. They made several contacts with the individual to have him drop his weapon. Aurora Police Chief Todd Chamberlain said, at that point, gunfire was exchanged by the officers towards the individual with the weapon, and individual fell to the ground. Unfortunately, I see this, and you may be able to relate. Whenever I do even look at the news intentionally like that, you see more negativity than positivity, but that goes with me motivating you to please make the most of each day. Life is precious. If you need help, there are resources for you. Whether it's therapy or talking on the phone, there is help out there for you. I want to end on a more positive note and let you know I am grateful and thankful for your dedication to mental health, helping make this show possible. I wouldn't be able to, and I couldn't record this show if no one tuned in. Thank you for supporting me, even though I don't host maybe the most glamorous topic for a podcast, but I do try to make a difference each and every show. We're coming back next week with an interview. Will it be a mental health interview? Will I introduce you to one of my other shows? You'll have to wait and see. Please remember to rate the show 5 stars if you enjoyed today's episode, and we will see you again next week.